This is your Weather Extreme video for Saturday, April the 7th. I'm meteorologist Brian Peters. Nice to be back with you for this weekend after a couple of a weekend where I was out so much. Thought we'd take a look this morning at a quick look at my temperature trace. Nicely perfect, just about. Nice, beautiful little sine wave to it there, with a high near 75 yesterday and a low this morning, 49. Wow. Clouds, pretty few, but we do have just a little patch of what appears to be some altocumulus clouds passing through the central Alabama area this morning. And let's take a look around the state. There is Decatur as we look at the Tennessee River, and beautiful clear morning up there. We stay with the D theme and go to Dauphin Island, and we can see a few clouds on the horizon over there as we look off what appears to be looking east anyway. All right, let's go to the surface map, and there is the surface high pressure over Ohio that is firmly planted over the eastern half of the country and bringing a nice shot of great weather to the eastern part of the country. In the upper atmosphere, we're dealing with a ridge that stretches pretty much along the Mississippi River Valley from north or from south to north. But looks like that's going to be changing, and we're going to see some pretty coolish weather, actually kind of getting back towards where we ought to be this time of year. Speaking of coolish, wow, haven't seen this much 32-degree isotherm coverage in many weeks, it seems like. I remember a couple of weeks ago talking about how there was hardly any 32-degree coverage across the country, but notice the 32-degree isotherm's that red line, so everything north of that line is below freezing. No below freezing here, but it is a beautiful morning. Like I say, we've got that little patch of clouds moving through, but otherwise, mostly clear skies and temperatures in the 40s, so very nice morning. If you want to stop at if you want the forecast for the next 5 days, you can stop right here. It looks like much of the threat for rain is going to stay off to our west significantly. And of course, remember, Texas was having a pretty big trouble with a drought just a few months ago, and boy, they're getting some weather. Of course, you saw that weather just a few days ago with the tornadoes through the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. And you can see for us and for much of the southeastern U.S., we stay dry. Storm Prediction Center outlooking a slight risk of severe over Texas. That kind of drops off on day 2 to a C-text area, but then it's back in day 3 over the Red River Valley, so off to our west. Now, here's the 06Z GFS model run, and there's surface high pressure giving us just great weather. We see that our ridge is dampening out in response to a pretty strong closed low over central Canada. That closed low kind of digs in over the east coast of the United States into New England. And as that does, of course, it pumps up the ridge a little bit and increases the northwesterly flow. We see it really beginning to dive into the mid-Atlantic states on Tuesday, and so that paves the way for the thicknesses to drop. Notice the 540 line coming all the way down into the Kentucky-Tennessee border area on Tuesday. I think probably Wednesday morning will be our chilliest morning of the upcoming week, and you can see that the trough really dives into the mid-Atlantic states that day, according to the GFS, and pretty good agreement with the European, although I've got one coming up you'll see where the European doesn't agree too much. And that does bring some precipitation down into Pennsylvania and West Virginia. Notice the 540 line down pretty close to or in the vicinity of Chattanooga. Not quite, but very close. So looks like Wednesday morning probably going to be our coldest morning. The trough over the mid-Atlantic states moves off into the Atlantic on Thursday, and as it does, of course, the ridge begins to build in, so that means we'll begin the warm-up. Still a chilly morning on Thursday morning, but you can see the 540 thickness line up into southern West Virginia. Friday, the ridge is pretty much over the lower Mississippi River Valley. Now, this is where there are some differences, and this one, I was looking at the European, and this kind of shocked me. It's got a pretty significant amount of rain, and yet, when you looked at the upper atmosphere picture on the European, it had a ridge, weakened though it was. So, not sure I understand that, and in this case, I'm not planning to go with European, but we'll see what happens. The ridge, according to the GFS, on a week from today, Saturday, the 14th. Builds up very, very strongly. And then if we just go out into Sunday, you can see the ridge over the southeastern U.S. and all the action still off to our west in the vicinity of the Oklahoma Panhandle. Going out into voodoo country, it does look like we get a shot of rain on the 16th. And then it looks like we're kind of under a weak ridging around the 20th with kind of a double-barreled pattern here with a closed low over northern Mexico and a nice trough on the mid-Atlantic coast. And then finally we see another coolish look, not especially cold, around the 22nd of April, as we see what appears to be a fairly good trough over the eastern half of the country. Well, that'll do it for this Weather Xtreme video. Thanks so much for tuning in. I expect to have the next one posted first thing on Easter morning, tomorrow morning, April the 8th. In the meantime, I hope your Saturday is a great one, and Godspeed.
Thank you for trusting us to be your #1 source for news
in all of Central Alabama.
in back-to-back ratings periods.
More people watched ABC 3340
than any other station in Birmingham.